ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, toxic relationship advice channel. Alright, we're going to get back into this topic again. And what you do is make sure you hit the like button, share me out in your social media, and share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Make sure you read the description so you can find out about this trial. Well, I've been just watching this trial here, right? And they've been out of court because I believe someone caught COVID, someone told me, so something like that. So now I'm doing my catch up on it. So we're gonna watch day 2 clips. We're gonna watch a little bit of day 2 of the trial, right? Now, this man is a true lunatic. I mean, he was stalking her and obsessed over her for how many years? This is crazy. Well, I don't know everything about this, so I don't want to misinform you. So we're gonna watch this. Now, today we're gonna get into, like I said, day 2. Hollywood sex therapist murder trial. Amie, if I'm saying Harwick, hope I'm saying right, and Gareth Pursehouse, whatever the lunatic's name is, okay? So we're gonna watch this clip and make sure you read the description because it's gonna be like 3 people, if I'm correct, 3 or 4 people on the stand. So we're gonna hear what they have to say. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have the speed on a bit fast, and it's gonna be on 1.5. I believe everybody can understand what they're saying. The volume is pretty clear for this trial, thank God, because some of these trials are so hard to hear the volume of what they're saying, and interrogations is like, ugh. Okay, so we're gonna list this. I'll be on 1.5. Now, if it's too fast for you, ladies and gentlemen, what you can do is you can hit the settings and you can adjust it to your liking. If you want it faster, slower, whatever's comfortable for you. All right, because usually when I do recaps, I do it on a faster speed over here, okay? Because, trials is kind of long, so we got to go through a faster speed. All right, and like I said, make sure you hit the like button, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And if you need to reach out to me, look in the description. You'll find my email address, and you can contact me if you need a coaching in dating, love, relationships, or if you have a viewer's request, anything like that, you need to speak to me about something personal. Fine, email me. Feel free. All right, so let's get into this one. Now we are in day 2 of this trial. This poor girl. Wow. Look at her. Monster. Did that to this. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of people that walk around here just complete losers. And it's sad to know that you dated somebody how many years ago and they still obsessed over you and they still stalking you? This is ridiculous. This woman was living in fear. So sad. All right, let's get into this trial, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like.
Jamieson, is it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you examining this for you?
Yeah,
All right. You gonna approach the witness stand here, ma'am? Raise your right hand, face this gentleman here.
Oh my gosh, BG, he is a wild one. This is, whoa. I think this would be a good lesson. We can watch this and learn from this one. Big time. Hey, Deb, and hugs and kisses to you, girl. All right, let's resume. Let's get to it. And people's coming in. Welcome. Hit the like and feel free to engage. Or if you just want to hang out in the bushes and listen, it's all right. Whatever's comfortable for you. All right, let's get into this trial, day 2.
State that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Please have a seat.
Ms. Jamieson, I'm just going to ask you to lean into the microphone in your responses, if you would, okay? Go ahead.
Please state and spell your first and last name.
Aspen Jamieson, Aspen Jamieson.
Mr. Robbie? Oh, Ms. Mariano, excuse me.
It can be confusing, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Jamieson, before we start, do you mind moving the mic just a little bit closer and pointing it down towards your face so that we can hear you? Ms. Jamieson, what do you do for a living?
I am an adult film star.
Just a little louder.
An adult film star.
Thank you. As part of your work, did you attend the XBiz award show on January 16th of 2020?
I did.
Is that something that you would normally intend as being a person in your industry?
Yes.
Who did you attend the award show with in 2020?
At the time, or that night, I went with my friend, and we basically got a room to get our hair and makeup done, and it was just me and her.
Do you know about what time you ended up going to the actual award show after getting your hair and makeup done with your friend?
Around like 6:30 p.m.
And where was the XBiz Awards?
It was at the JW Marriott in downtown LA.
Now, when you got to the award show, did you walk the red carpet?
I did.
And did you do that pretty quickly after you arrived at the ex-business.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as People's 10A. Do you see that on the screen in front of you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that familiar to you?
Yes.
Is that the red carpet as it appeared back on January of 2020 when you walked that particular carpet for the show?
Yes.
Now, when you were at the show, did you run into somebody by the name of Dr. Fernando Chavez?
Yes.
How do you know Mr. Chavez?
We are friends. I've met him a few years ago prior to that. Always kind of in the adult field, I guess, at different places.
And what do you know his position to be in kind of the adult film industry?
Like a doctor for like sexual education and therapy.
Did you see the award show?
I did.
Where at the actual award show did you see Dr. Chavez?
He was standing in line waiting for the red carpet.
Was he alone?
No.
So can you tell us about what time you ran into Dr. Chavez on the red carpet?
It was probably around 7:30, 8 p.m.
And this was after you had kind of done your thing.
Right, so I finished red carpet. I had an early call time because they normally have the bigger stars go first to get it over with to make sure that they have all the press that they need.
You're one of the bigger stars?
Yes.
Okay. You said earlier in a question that I posed you that he wasn't alone when you ran into him. Do you know who he was with?
He was with Amie.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as People's 10D. Do you recognize who's depicted in this photograph?
Yes.
And who is that?
Amie.
And is this a person that you saw Dr. Chavez with on the evening of the award show when you ran into him on the red carpet?
Yes.
Is that the first time you met Amie?
Yes.
So you have no prior interaction with Amie prior to this time?
Never.
Now, when you ran into Dr. Chavez, did he introduce you to his friend Amie?
Yes.
Did you come find out what it was that she was doing there that evening?
I knew, he basically said she was a therapist as well, just like him, and they were going there to basically network.
Now, when you saw Dr. Hernandez with Amie at the red carpet, did you actually stop and talk and hang out?
As soon as I finished, I was walking, I saw him, and he basically said that I looked very nervous because I don't really like to talk in front of people, and I don't like to do media stuff. So he asked if I wanted a drink.
Did he go and get that drink?
He did. He asked if I could stay with her and keep her company while he went to go get us drinks.
And about how far away would you say the area to get drinks was from the area in which you first ran into Dr. Chavez and Amie?
Maybe like 30, 40 feet.
About how far away was the bar from the area in which you had stopped to speak to Dr. Chavez and to Amie?
About 30, 40 feet.
Now, you said that, if I'm recalling correctly, since we walked away, that Dr. Chavez went to actually go and get you a drink?
Yes.
Now, when you were standing there with Amie, did you guys engage in conversation?
Just very, very small talk.
Did anything significant happen as you were engaging in small talk with Amie on the red carpet?
While we were talking, a guy came up and basically said, "It's funny seeing you here."
Now, what was the tone of the person when they said, "It's funny seeing you here"?
Very angry.
Angry. Now, did you recognize that person?
No, I've never seen him before.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as People's 10C. You recognize this person.
Yes.
And how do you recognize this person?
He was,
Person are we talking about?
The person
In the red?
10C?
Oh, there's two.
Oh, I'm sorry.
the guy
person
in
in
the
the red, I'm sorry.
The guy in the red is the guy that came up to us.
And said, "Funny seeing you here."
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
With a yes,
Yes,
or no?
yes,
Do you see that person in court?
yes.
Could you please identify that person by telling us where that person is seated and what that person is wearing?
Blue collared shirt and glasses.
All right. Then find the defendant.
Now, you said that this person came up and said, "Funny seeing you here." Did he bother to introduce himself to you?
No.
Would it be fair to say that he interrupted your conversation with Amie at that point?
As your first objection, the court was sustained. Your second objection, go ahead.
When he came up to you, was it in the midst of you and Amie speaking?
Yes.
Was your conversation interrupted?
Yes.
Did he introduce himself at any point?
No.
Oh,
Did you find that rude?
sustained.
What was his tone?
Very angry.
Now, how long had you been standing with Amie, engaging in small talk, when the defendant walked up to the both of you?
It was very short. It was around 2 to 3 minutes.
When you saw the defendant approach you and Amie and heard the statement, "Funny seeing you here," did you get the impression that he knew her?
Yes.
In the 2 to 3 minutes that the defendant engaged in conversation with Amie, were you silent?
Yes.
So you weren't engaging in any conversation with them?
No.
Did it appear to you that the defendant was directing his statements directly at Amie during this time
Yes.
and nobody else?
No.
Were you able to hear what they were talking about?
A little bit, but it was basically like, funny seeing you here. Basically called her a hypocrite and did not know why she was there. It kind of seemed like that she never approved of the adult industry, or didn't know why. He didn't know why she was there, basically.
So initially you had said that when he walked up to Amie, the defendant, that he appeared angry. I'm sorry, you have to
Yes,
answer.
sorry. Yes.
As this conversation continued for the 2 to 3 minutes, would you say his tone was still angry?
Yes.
You said he called her a hypocrite. Did he curse at her at any time during that 2 to 3 minutes?
Yes.
Could you describe any words or recall any curse words that he used at Amie during this time?
Something along the lines of, you fucking ruined my life.
And could you tell me the volume at which he was speaking?
It was pretty loud.
He said, "You effing ruined my life." Sir, you ruined your own life. See, they always want to shift the blame on somebody else. They won't hold their own self accountable for nothing. Ridiculous. Resume.
Loud, and everybody kind of started looking over, and she seemed embarrassed, so she tried to calm him down and kind of take the conversation elsewhere so people weren't staring at her.
How close were you standing to that?
Very close,
So it was loud enough for you to hear?
of course.
But you said you noticed, you were able to actually observe other people in that area looking at them?
Yes, we were in a line for the red carpet.
Now you said that Amie was trying to calm him down. Can you explain to us what it is that you mean when you say Amie was actually trying to calm him down?
I felt like she was embarrassed that everybody was staring, so she was just trying to calm him down to not be so loud, and that's when she kind of removed herself from the line to go and kind of be somewhere a little bit more private.
And just to be more specific, was she trying to calm him down with his words? With words?
Yes.
Well, she said it appeared. It didn't say that she was conclusively doing that. It appeared to this witness that Ms. Harwick was trying to calm the individual down.
Now I know you said that the defendant's voice was loud. Is that correct?
Yes.
How was Amie's voice in response to the defendant?
She seemed calm and was just trying to calm him down.
Did she yell at him?
No.
Did she curse at him?
No.
Did she call him any names?
No.
Now, you said that at some point she tried to remove herself from that area.
Yes.
When she tried to remove herself, what do you mean by that? Like walk away?
Yes, try to walk away.
Did the defendant follow her?
Yes.
So about after 2 or 3 minutes of the defendant first at her and calling her names, at that point you saw the victim move away from that location.
Yes.
Now, could you tell us where they went from that point?
Yes, it was not very far, but far enough that people weren't paying attention, and there was like a bathroom maybe 15, 20 feet away from the line.
Now, I want to, before we get to what they were doing when they had walked away, we'd established during testimony that the defendant was loud. Now, at any point during that 2 to 3 minutes before they walked away, did his volume increase at all?
Yes.
So, despite Amie consistently trying to calm him down, his volume increased.
Objection, Mr. Testimony.
Overruled. Go ahead and finish question.
Objection, meeting as well.
What I haven't heard the end of the question. Ask the question.
Sure. I actually had finished my question.
Well, despite that, what was like? I didn't hear it all. Let's see.
Sure.
Hold on.
I can repeat it, Your Honor.
No, I can read it. Okay, so despite Amie consistently trying to calm him down, his volume increased. That was your question?
Yeah. Did his volume increase?
Okay, overruled. You can answer that.
Yes.
Now, you said that other people were looking at them as this conversation was taking place. I know you said Amie appeared to try to calm the defendant down. Did she have any other sort of reaction to the defendant confronting her, aside from just trying to calm him down?
I felt like she seemed a little embarrassed, so she just kept trying to calm him down, but it seemed like he was getting more upset by the fact that she was trying to calm him down.
Objection, speculation.
Part of speculation, that last part would be stricken.
The embarrassed portion remains, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, who walked away first? Was it Amie and then the defendant followed, or was it kind of like a collective walking away?
I believe Amie tried walking away and he followed her.
Now, you stated that where they went to was about 15 feet away near the bathroom area, is that right?
Yes.
Could you still see them from where you were standing near the red carpet?
Yes.
Could you hear them?
No.
Despite not being able to hear what they were saying, Could you still tell what the defendant's demeanor was from that distance?
What the demeanor appeared to be.
Correct.
It just seemed like they were arguing.
So I want to be more specific about the defendant. Could you see his body language from where you were?
Yes.
Yes. Could you tell me what that body language was?
Just his arms were kind of like up and just very like furious with the situation.
So let the record reflect, Your Honor, that the witness raised both her left and right arms, moving around her hands in kind of circular motion. So you demonstrated kind of this movement I just described for the record. Would you say he was moving his arms erratically?
Projection meaning.
Yes.
Oh, assistant. All right.
Could you describe what other body movements he was doing while he was speaking with Amie from that distance?
It just kind of seemed like his arms were like kind of going up very angrily and was just very upset.
Projection false inflation.
Overruled. This is what appeared to her based on his body language.
Now, I know you had met Amie for the first time that night. Did that interaction between the defendant and Amie cause you any concern?
Objection relevance.
It's foundational.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. I know you just met Amie for the first time that night. But despite just meeting Amie for the very first time, did that interaction with the defendant and Amie cause you any concern at that time?
No.
Did you end up calling your friend Hernando at any point while you were with Amie?
Objection meaning.
Yes.
Relevant.
Yes? And why would you call Dr. Chavez while you were observing this interaction between the defendant and Amie?
Because he told me to stay with her while he went to go get us drinks, and then all of a sudden this happened, and I don't know. I felt bad for her because she was in a very awkward position, and it seemed like they might have just broken up, or definitely felt like it was an ex-boyfriend, but it seemed like it was something fresh and new, and I know that she walked away, so I knew that she was uncomfortable, so I was trying to call my friend back to help the situation. I didn't really know her.
And did you get in contact with Dr. Chavez only by cell phone? Only by phone call, or was it by text as well?
I believe I texted him because he didn't answer the phone.
And do you remember what you said to him in order to get him to come back?
I said, I think your friend needs you.
Based on that statement, did you feel that she needed help?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
If I was in that situation, I would want help.
And in your opinion, it appeared that they had just broken up.
Yes,
Now, did Hernando come back to the area where you were standing?
he did.
Did you tell him what you had observed between the defendant and Amie?
Yes.
Did you point out to him where they kind of walked off to?
Objection meaning.
Yes.
Overruled.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Now, once Dr. Chavez came back, what did you do at that point?
I left to go get my makeup retouched up before the award show started.
Did you see Dr. Chavez at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
Did you see Amie at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
And did you see the defendant at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Well, we got 4 minutes. You want to start?
I prefer to start there.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a break for lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be back at 1:30. Have a good lunch.
Something to the effect of.
Okay, well, she said yes, but was it something to the effect of those words?
Yes.
Okay.
Detective Carranza and Masterson interviewed you on the 28th of October in 2021. Do you remember that?
I don't recall the exact date.
You
I was interviewed, yes.
And that was a recorded interview.
Yes.
In that interview, detectives asked you, what was the first thing you heard Mr. Pursehouse say? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you responded that you heard him say, funny seeing you here.
Whether you're looking for the perfect holiday gift or just to make a statement,
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This morning on Direct, you testified that you heard Mr. Pursehouse say, you fucking ruined my life, to Ms. Harwick.
Yes.
Something to the effect of.
Okay, well, she said yes, but was it something to the effect of those words?
Yes.
Okay.
Detective Carranza and Masterson interviewed you on the 28th of October in 2021. Do you remember that?
I don't recall the exact date.
You-
I was interviewed, yes.
And that was a recorded interview.
Yes.
In that interview, detectives asked you, what was the first thing you heard Mr. Pursehouse say? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you responded that you heard him say, funny seeing you here.
Yes.
And you mentioned to the detectives that you and one of the detectives had a phone call prior to that interview. Do you remember that?
They called me to set up an interview.
Well, in the interview, you specifically referenced this phone call that you had with the detective. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you brought it up and you told the detectives that in that phone call, the detective had asked you about hearing this specific phrase, ruining his life or something like that.
Yes.
So in this phone call, the detectives told you, hey, Mr. Pursehouse said this phrase. Do you remember hearing it?
Yes.
And you specifically told the detectives in your interview that you did not remember those exact words. Is that correct?
Yes.
It was the detective who told you in the phone call that Mr. Pursehouse had said, you ruined my life.
Objection to state's testimony.
This cross-examination, is it correct that the detective is the one that made that statement to you over the phone?
I believe so.
And you specifically told him in the interview that you hadn't heard those exact words, but that you had heard something along the lines of jealousy. He was expressing jealousy. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That he was there shooting an adult film event, and he was upset that she was there, right?
Yes.
Because previously she had a problem with that industry,
It seemed like it.
and so now she's here, and so that was the reason that he was explaining to Ms. Harwick why he was upset.
Objection called for speculation.
It's a stand.
You're right there. Did you hear him make specific statements to the effect of, why are you here if you had such a problem with it?
Something on the lines.
On direct, you testified that Ms. Harwick tried to walk away and Mr. Pursehouse followed.
Yes.
And when you spoke to the detectives in the interview, in the recorded interview, isn't it true that you were not actually sure about that point? Whether he followed her?
I definitely knew that he followed her.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the transcript of your interview?
Objection, she doesn't need her memory refreshing her question.
Yeah, she said she stated that you do remember that. Is that correct?
I remember her leaving and him following, and them going near the bathroom.
Looking at page 10, line 26 of the transcript, isn't it true that you said, and I quote, I think they just, well, she walked away, and I think he followed. I'm not sure.
Objection to statement confirmation.
Well, overruled.
Isn't it true that that is what you told the detectives during your interview on the 28th of October, 2021?
I definitely saw them walk away, and they went near the bathroom.
Objection non-responsive.
Well, that's her answer.
The question is, did you say to the detectives during your interview that she walked away and I think he followed? I'm not sure.
Objection to just ask the
But
question.
correct, and she's answered it.
Well,
That's the way she answered it. Are you disagreeing that you make that statement to the officers?
I'm sorry?
Do you disagree with what he just stated? Did you make that statement to the detectives that interviewed you? Repeat the statement.
and then I think they just, well, she walked away and I think he followed. I'm not sure.
I know for sure that he followed her.
Okay, that's not inconsistent. You followed her.
The question relates to her statement to the detectives.
Right. So did you make that statement to the detectives? That you followed her?
I thought I did.
Okay.
We definitely have Vance in here.
My question only relates to not what your memory is today, but what you told the detectives when you were interviewed back in 2021.
But that is your memory today. That's what she recalls telling you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure I understand the timeline. You are with Mr. Chavez and Ms. Harwick online to get to the red carpet, right?
In line, yes.
Thank you. And the specific reason that the line exists is to take pictures on the red carpet, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Chavez leaves to get drinks, right?
Yes.
And how much time passes between Mr. Chavez leaving and Mr. Pursehouse approaching?
Within 3 minutes or so.
And then there's that 2 to 3 minute interaction between Mr. Pursehouse and Ms. Harwick.
Something like that. Me and her were just having very, very small talk. I just met her.
I
And he
mean,
came
once
up.
Mr. Pursehouse arrives, then the interaction between the two of them before they leave the line is about 2 to 3 minutes,
Very, very fast. A couple minutes.
a couple of minutes. And you hear some of the things that were said, but not everything.
Correct.
You were looking at your phone.
I was just in line. I wasn't necessarily looking at my phone. The only time I really looked at my phone was when I was trying to contact Hernando.
When Mr. Chavez does walk back up to the line, Ms. Harwick and Mr. Pursehouse weren't there anymore, right?
Correct.
They'd already left.
Yes.
And so the part of the conversation and the phrase that you have testified to that you heard, Mr. Chavez was not there when you heard that phrase.
Not the phrase.
You told Mr. Chavez the general area they had gone,
Yes.
and he stayed with you in line.
I already finished the red carpet, so I no longer needed to be in line. I was just standing there with her to keep her company while he went to go get us drinks.
Right, but I'm asking when Mr. Chavez comes back and you tell him where Ms. Harwick and Mr. Pursehouse went, then Mr. Chavez stayed with you. And
No.
No. Specifically, when Mr. Chavez returned from the bar, you like run over towards him as he was coming to you, did you?
No.
At some point, well after the XBiz award event, Mr. Chavez contacted you and informed you that Ms. Harwick had passed away.
Yes.
And he told you that you should contact the police.
He asked if I could.
He said it was important that you tell them what you heard.
Yes.
And you did contact the detectives.
Yes.
And you had that phone call that we talked about before.
Yes.
And in that phone call, the detectives asked you what you remembered and what you heard about what happened in the event.
I told them the gist of it.
The detectives told you that there was this phrase at issue, whether he said, "You ruined my life, bitch."
Hey, let's not go over that issue again, Counsel. Let's move on.
To your knowledge, that phone call was not recorded.
To my knowledge, I don't remember.
Prior to your testimony today, the prosecution sent you, or the detective sent you, a transcript of your interview from 2021.
Yes.
And you recently spoke to DA, the district attorneys, about this case, right?
Yes.
And you spoke to them about what you remembered from that night.
Yes.
When was this conversation?
Today? Is that what you're asking?
No, prior to today's testimony. Did you have a conversation with Mr. Avila or Ms. Mariano, or any of the detectives about your recollections and, what happened that night?
I just remember asking them, or they basically asked me to come to trial, but I don't remember really talking about everything except for when they initially recorded everything.
Nothing further.
Ms. Jamieson, you were asked several questions by Mr. Frenzel about this phone call you had with detectives prior to coming in for an interview. So just to be clear, you physically went to a police station and gave an interview, is that correct?
Yes, they came to Henderson, Nevada, where I was residing at the time, and I met with them at the local police station in Henderson.
But prior to physically meeting with law enforcement, you actually had a phone call with a detective, is that correct?
I think so.
Or somebody from a member of law enforcement?
Yes, to schedule up the interview.
And was that an interview or some sort of logistical phone call?
Logistics.
Was that to set up this meeting in Henderson to take a statement from you?
Yes, because I believe they were all in Los Angeles, and I told them that I was living in Henderson, so they said they would come up to me.
Would it be fair to say that your recollection of the night and what you told detectives is captured in your interview at the police station in Nevada?
Yes.
And prior to today, you had an opportunity to actually listen and watch that interview, is that correct?
I listened to it. I didn't watch it.
I'm sorry, you actually listened to it, the
I
audio.
listened. Correct.
Now, when Mr. Frenzel, that's defense counsel over here, asked you some questions, he asked you about this statement that you heard the defendant say something to the effect of, "You ruined my life." You recall that?
Yes.
We talked about it on direct examination as well.
Yes.
Now, I think the gist of the question, and you appeared confused, so I'm going to ask you again.
Well, all right, that part would be stricken. Go ahead and ask her.
Were you confused by Mr. Frenzel's question when he asked you that?
Yes.
Okay. So, as a point of clarity, you appear confused by Mr. Frenzel's question, so let me ask you in a different way. Was that statement fed to you by detectives?
No.
Do you independently recollect hearing the defendant say something to the effect of, "You ruined my life"?
Yes.
Thank you, nothing further.
The phone call with the detective or law enforcement member that occurred prior to your interview in Henderson, it's your testimony today that phone call was purely logistical,
Yes.
and that there were no questions about what happened at the XBiz Awards.
No.
Okay, I have in my hand what I'd like to mark as an SE. It's a CD, which is an excerpt of the interview with Jamieson and showing counsel transcript.
And the same objection is, let me read the objection for one moment.
Yes. Just going to hear a statement regarding what you characterize as logistical
Yes,
conversation.
definitely.
And may we approach?
All right.
I'm absolutely just loving her small pink purse. Oh my gosh, it is just too cute. All right, let's come back on. All right, good.
I am obsessed with this ramen from Publix.
All right, Counsel.
Thank you. Prior to that little break we just took, you had just testified that the conversation you had with the detective before the interview was purely logistical.
Yes.
What do you mean by logistical?
Setting up where we're going to meet, because I was in Henderson, they were in LA, and basically they were coming to Henderson, and they asked me to meet them at the local Henderson police station that was near my house.
Okay, and you didn't speak during that initial call. You didn't speak about the case at all, other than just setting up the meeting.
I honestly don't recall.
Okay. Now she says she does not recall, Counsel. Why don't you approach, refresh your memory? at this point. She said she doesn't recall. So that's different now.
Okay.
Do you have a transcript?
I have the actual interview that I played for her with that.
Well, show her the transcript first. Yeah, show the transcript.
I have to say she doesn't remember. And I'm going to refresh her recollection. Would it refresh your recollection to listen to the interview?
I
You
can,
can do it either way.
I can read it.
Right? Oh, she said she can read it. All right,
Question, okay. Your Honor, may I please cross-examine this witness?
you are.
I know the prosecution's playing an ample role here.
Well,
so
all right.
would it
He's,
refresh-
he's free to recollect, have a witness's recollection refreshed by any means. And if you're going to play that excerpt, then go ahead.
All right.
And give her the transcript to follow along, if you would.
If I may slip a brief moment.
Yes.
Our next witness is Revecka Jallad.
Okay.
May I place this here? Sorry. Let me get one more thing. Volume good? Did that refresh your recollection?
A little bit, but it was honestly a long time ago, so I don't really remember too much.
You still don't remember too much, you said?
I don't really remember that initial phone call.
Okay.
Having just listened to your own statements to the detectives about that phone call, doesn't refresh your recollection about what was said in that phone call?
Hold on. Well, based on what he played to her.
Based on what
It's just what he played to her.
What you played, that was me in Henderson talking. That wasn't the initial phone call, so I don't
Right.
really remember the phone call.
So that was not the initial phone call you received?
No, that what he played for me, that's me in Henderson at the police department.
Okay.
Okay, so when you were being interviewed by the detectives, you told the detectives, hey, that phone call that we had, in that phone call you asked me if he said you ruined my life, bitch.
Objection asked me, sir.
Well, no,
This is
it's-
the time that
I understand. He's setting a foundation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is what counsel stated correct? Repeat it if you would.
In the October interview with the detectives in Henderson, you told them, hey, when you called me and we had a phone call, you asked me, did Mr. Pursehouse say you ruined my life, bitch? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you told the detectives that you don't remember those exact words.
It was something on the lines of, you ruined my life, bitch. It might have not been those exact words, but he was just mad at her because he was basically calling her a hypocrite why she was there when he didn't really accept that, or when she didn't really accept
You're saying
that.
something along the lines of, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All I'm asking about is what you said in that interview to the detectives.
Right, but she said she can't recall. It was something along the lines of what you stated.
I know, but
Your Honor, Mr. Frenzel is
That-
asking the same question.
I understand.
And he's getting the same answer.
Yes,
And
and-
just
and-
because he doesn't like the answer.
Counsel,
doesn't
no
mean he
speaking
gets the
objections. No, I don't want to hear any editorial with respect to that. Okay, that's it. She stated something along the lines of what you stated to her, and it remains, and the record remains as such. All right?
thank you. Nothing further.
Anything?
Do you, as you sit here today and testify, independently recall the defendant saying something along those lines of, you ruined my life, to Amie Harwick at the ex-Visit Courts?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything on based on that question?
No.
Okay, ma'am, you may step down. Thank you very much.
Should you just recall?
Yes, can I make it available, if you would?
Well, out of state.
Yes, it's up to.
Okay, so if you, yeah, if you want.
We can make it available, but they would have to take they have to take care of the logistics. That's fine.
Okay, fine. Make her available, and they'll take care of the logistics if they need it. All right, next witness, if you would.
The people call Ms. Jallad, Revecka Jallad.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the name for this clown. He is a bona fide loser.
Yeah, if you could raise your right hand, face someone here.
You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Please have a seat.
Mr. Law, as I've advised other witnesses, if you would lean into the microphone when you speak, so make sure that all jurors can hear you, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Revecka Jallad, Revecka Jallad.
Ms. Mariano.
Thank you. How do you know Amie Harwick?
We became close friends through working together, modeling, photo shoots, things like that.
When would you say, approximately, you don't need to give me an exact date, of when you guys met?
Wow. Sorry. I would say 2008.
And you've known each other ever since, I assume?
Yes.
Why does people dress like this coming to court? Jeans and a casual top like that. Like you walking through the park or something. This is the courtroom. Oh well. I'm just saying. Resume.
Would you say that since knowing each other since 2008, quite a long time, that you were good friends?
Yes.
Well, she said the witness herself said the word she used, the characterization was close friends. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you keep in touch?
Yes.
How often would you say you kept in touch with Amie throughout your friendship?
Every few months. We didn't talk for a few years. And then we had rekindled our friendship. And then, once that happened, typically we'd be in contact every few months or so.
What about in the months leading up to her death? How often would you say you spoke during that time?
I would say once every few weeks. We became a lot closer.
Now, in the time that you've known Amie, have you ever seen her smoke any tobacco products?
No, never.
Any sort of nicotine products?
No.
Did you ever see her ingest nicotine in any form?
No.
Prior to her death, when was the last time you saw her?
It was February 14th. We went to an event together.
And is that Valentine's Day?
Yes.
What did you do that day on Valentine's Day?
We went to a burlesque show.
And you're referencing we.
Rico! Blessing to you, brother. Blessing to you. This clown showed himself on Valentine's Day. The fear that this woman must have been living in for years because of this clown. This low-life piece of crap. Resume.
Who are you talking about, we?
Myself, Amie, and our friend Sarah.
And where was this burlesque show located?
At the Globe Theater in downtown LA.
And was that on 7th and Broadway?
Yes.
How did you get to the Globe Theater that evening?
I took an Uber.
And we're not to tell us the exact location, but the general location of where we're coming from. Ubered from, that's just a few places, right? Do you know about what time you arrived at the Globe Theater?
Must have been around 7:30.
Did you meet Amie and your friend Sarah there?
Yes, yes.
Who arrived first?
Amie was there first.
And then who arrived second?
I did.
And when did Sarah arrive?
Probably about 20 minutes after I got there.
Now, is Sarah also a friend of yours?
We had just met that night.
That was the first time you'd ever met Sarah?
Yes.
And is that from a friend of Amy's?
Yes, she was a friend of Amy's.
Was Amie responsible for kind of setting up the night?
She was.
Now, when you were at the Globe Theater, did you take any photographs while you were there?
We
Your Honor, at this time, the people are holding 3 photographs with the witness. May that be marked as people's 12, A, B, and C?
Yes.
Michelle, I'm showing you what's been marked as people's 12A. Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
Is this a photograph that was taken of you while at the Globe Theater?
Yes.
Could you tell us who's who in the photograph?
Sure. From left to right, Amie, Tosh, Miss Tosh, she was a dancer. There's one of her full name. And then Sarah and myself.
So when you say Tosh was a dancer there, that's not one of the people that was out with you at the Globe Theater, is that correct?
No, she was one of the performers.
In the burlesque show?
Yes.
Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about what you guys were wearing. Was there a uniform for the night?
There was. We were to wear all either pink or red.
And whose idea was that?
That was Amy's.
And you had all discussed that prior to this day?
We did. Well, on the day.
Yeah. Do you remember the accessories that Amie was wearing that day?
I do.
And what accessories were those?
She had a leather jacket on with her. She also had rosary necklaces.
I'm zooming in on a photograph here of People's 12A, and I'm pointing to what appears to be a necklace, or two necklaces. Are those necklaces that you're referring to, Amie, having worn that night?
Yes.
Now, did you take additional photos at the Globe Theater, aside from the one I'm showing you here?
We did? Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as People's 12B. Is this a photograph that was also taken here?
Yes.
And could you point out who's who in this photograph?
I'm to the right and Amy's to the left. Sorry.
You said you're to the right and Amy's to the left?
I'm sorry. I'm on the left and Amy's on the right.
You're to the left and Amy's to the right. If you need a moment, just let me know. We can pause.
You have dishes up there?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, it's right behind the screen. Just reach behind the screen right there. Yeah, there you go. Right.
This woman is hurting. She missed her best friend. You know, I'm a little sick of these low lives out here deciding if someone should live or die. Who are you to make that call? Only God is supposed to be able to make that call. Who are you to say, oh, they don't need to live no more because I don't like them. She doesn't want to be with me, so I'm not going to let her live anymore. And no other man's going to have her. What is wrong with these people? That's why he ain't never going to see light of day. He's going to be in prison. They're going to take good care of him. Yep. Talking about she ruined his life. Get out of here. You ruined your own life, you loser.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. There's not much room there.
I'm going to show you one more photo, shot. People's 12C. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Is that a photo that was taken? Could you tell us who's in the photo?
Myself to the left and Amy to the right.
Now, how long do you recall was the burlesque show?
It finished around 9:30, so like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Now, did you decide to go somewhere after the Globe Theater?
Yes.
So what time would you say you actually left?
Between 9:45 and 10 p.m.
And where did you go?
We first went to my office at 711 Olive Street, and then we went to the Nomad Hotel, which is across the street.
What's the Nomad?
It is a hotel slash eatery. They have food, drinks,
Gotcha.
and it is a hotel.
Did all of you go there?
Yes, we did.
So that was Sarah and your.
Yes.
Can you tell us logistically how that took place?
Yeah, so Sarah and I had both Ubered there, so Amy drove us back.
What do you mean Amy drove you back?
We went in her car.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And we drove to my office. And yeah.
So just to be clear, so that I'm not confused, Sarah drove both yourself and Sarah in her car back to your office located at 711 Olive Street.
Yes.
And that's located across the street from the Nomad?
Yes.
Where did Amy park?
In the under garage of my building. I had parking there, so.
Is that where you had also parked earlier in the evening?
Yes, my car was there. Yeah.
And why did you decide to drive back with Amy and have her park there?
She'd taken her car, and it's safer. You know, my building is safe and secure parking.
Gotcha.
So, and we knew we wanted to go to the Nomad, and I said, well, my business is right there, so let's just go park. It's a gated parking, so.
What time would you say after leaving the Globe Theater did you arrive at the Nomad?
Probably around 10:30. Wasn't, yeah.
What did you guys do once you were there?
We talked. We had something to eat. Amy had tea.
And when you say you laugh when you say Amy had tea, why did you laugh?
Because she loves tea.
Okay. And you said you and Sarah had some drinks. Is that right?
Yeah, not alcoholic, just yeah, because we were ending the night, so.
About how long would you say you stayed at the Nomad with Amy and Sarah?
We left around midnight. Yeah.
And when you say
12,
we, did all three of you leave at the same time?
Yes, we did.
Where did you each go from there? Let's start with Sarah.
Sarah took an Uber to where her car was parked, and Amy and I walked back to my office.
Did you go straight home from there?
No,
What did you guys do once you and Amy walked back to your office?
we went up to my actual office. She wanted to see it, and I had just gotten a puppy, and she just wanted to see me. And we were just stuck for a moment. I had to gather my things. I didn't want her going to the garage by herself, and so we went back down together.
How much time would you say you spent in your office playing with your new puppy?
Not much time, maybe 10 minutes, because we just both wanted to get home. It's late.
And you said that you had both walked down to the garage together?
Yes.
And we're talking about the parking garage?
Yes.
What happened once you got down to the parking garage?
We talked for a few minutes by our car, and then we both got in our cars and went to the freeway together, and I followed her on the freeway, and then, we went our separate ways.
And what time would you say that was when you finally got into your cars and drove out of the parking garage?
Well, it doesn't take very long to get home. Again, 12:30. It was a pretty maybe 20 minutes or so. We went up and came down, and then we left.
And where did you go from your office?
I went to my house.
And how long, you said it takes you, did you say 20 minutes to get home?
Or so, yeah. I got home at 1 a.m.
Now, did you hear from Amie at any point after parting at the garage to arriving at your house?
Yes.
And how did you hear from her?
As soon as I was pulling into my garage at my home, she texted me and asked me to send her pictures.
Your Honor, at this time, the people are holding 2 pages of screenshots of text messages created marked as people's 13A and 13B.
Yes.
And just preliminarily, I'm going to leave this exhibit up. I just want to let counsel know, just because the next series of questions will be involved with this exhibit, Your Honor.
Yes, we're in our discussion into photographs. So not so much text and so forth and or these. As long as you're asking on the issue of the witness, that's fine. You're within the court's order.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right.
So you said that you received a text message from Amie at what time?
It was 1:02.
Now I'm going to show you 13A. Do you have a good view of that in the screen in front of you?
I do, yes.
Now, do you recognize this to be your phone based on these text messages?
Yes, it's my phone.
Showing you the initial text message here, send me the selfies we took. Is that a text message from you or?
That's from Amie.
That's from you?
Yes.
And do you see the timestamp right above there?
I do.
Okay. And what's the timestamp?
1:01 a.m.
And that is a text message you received from Amie?
Yes.
Now, there's a second text message in blue saying okay.
Yes.
And with a timestamp of 1:02 a.m.
Yes.
Is that your response to Amie's text message?
Yes.
And you said that's what time you came home?
Yes, because I distinctly remember as soon as I pulled into my garage, I got the message. I was in my car, and I responded before I even went into my house.
So upon seeing that text message, you immediately responded?
Yes.
Now, and these are the photographs that we see on the screen that I showed you earlier, is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to show you people's 13B. These are the other photographs that we talked about on the direct examination in people's 12. Is that correct?
Yes.
There is a timestamp on the right side here of 1:07 a.m. Are those text messages that you had sent between the times of 1:02 and 1:07?
I sent them all at once, and it looks like some of them just got delivered a little later.
Did you get a response from Amie after sending these messages?
No.
And when was the last time you ever heard from Amie?
When she texted me to send the photos.
So the text messages that we're viewing is the last communication you ever had with Amie prior to her death?
Yes.
Thank you, nothing further.
Counsel, you can, you're going to use those photographs?
I have a question.
Okay. You have no questions? Okay, you can take that down. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You.
The people called Maricela Mendoza?
All right. All right, ma'am. Maybe you could face my questions.
Please raise your right hand. Yes. You solemnly state that the testimony you give in the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thanks. Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Maricela Mendoza, Maricela Mendoza.
All right, counsel.
Thank you. Do you know Amie Harwick?
Yes, I do.
How do you know each other?
We've been friends for about 20 years. We were friends for about 20 years.
How did you guys meet?
We met many years ago through Coffin Case, which is a company we both modeled for back in the day.
Were you good friends?
Yes, we were.
Did you maintain regular contact with each other over this period of 20 months?
Yes, we did.
Would you say you kept in touch often?
Yes, we did.
And could you tell me what often means?
Often was every other day. We'd talk, or we'd go have waffles, or we'd go eat, or we'd go have coffee. Or there was only one period where I distanced myself, and that's when I lost my boyfriend who passed away. So, but that was just a grieving process, and then we picked up again after I was ready.
So you kept in touch fairly often?
Yes.
In the time that you've known her for, I think you said 20 years, had you ever seen her smoke any tobacco products?
Absolutely not.
Ingest any tobacco products?
Absolutely not.
Ingest any form of nicotine whatsoever?
Absolutely not.
Now, do you know someone by the name of Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes, I do.
Do you see him in court today?
Yes, I do.
Could you please identify him by telling us where he's seated and what he's wearing?
I'm assuming that is him at the very far right. Looks a little different than I remember, but I think that's him on the far right over there.
What's he wearing?
He's wearing a blazer with a blue collar shirt.
How do you know the defendant?
We met through Amie.
Could you tell me about when you first met the defendant?
Objection relevance.
Just saying.
I think, Your Honor, we'll go to, it's foundational.
All right, I'll give you some leeway. Start with that.
When did you first meet the defendant?
I'm not too certain if it was around 2009 or 2010.
And was the defendant and Amie dating at the time that you met him?
Objection relevant.
Hold on.
Yes.
And seeing that they were dating, did you spend time with both of them?
Yes, I did.
At the time that you were hanging out with Amie and the defendant at the same time, did you know what he did for a living?
Objection relevant.
Or leaves foundational as well.
Let's move on.
Now, when you were with hanging out with both the defendant and Amie, were you aware of how long they dated?
Objection relevant.
I'm not sure how long they were dating. I know that they had been off and on for a while. I tried to not be around them as much.
Objection non-responsive.
Okay, the answer will stand. Let's ask him.
You know if they were ever together?
Yes, they were.
In fact, had you ever been to their shared residence while they were dating?
Yes, many times.
Objection relevant. That's the question.
The answer will stand. They were living together and that she'd been there. Okay.
Were you pretty familiar with their relationship?
Objection relevant.
All right, that's sustained.
Without getting into the details, would you describe their relationship as volatile?
Objection.
Let's push it.
Oh, so they was living together. They've been together for a minute. Wonder how long. And how they met. Well, during the trial, you will eventually find out, right? Everything comes out. Let me see if I can fast forward this.
You're objecting as leading, the court's going to allow the answer to stand based on the court's order that we don't want to get into areas that the court thinks are relevant. If counsel understands where I'm going with this. Go ahead. All right.
Do you know around the time of when that relationship ended?
I'd say it might have been late 2010, 2011. Before 2012.
Was it an amicable breakup?
Objection foundation.
Well, it's sustained. Let's see the foundation with respect to that.
You said that you were friends with Amie Harwick for 20 years. Did you remain friends with Amie during her relationship with the defendant?
Yes.
Did that include the time frame when Amie and the defendant broke up in the time frame that you gave around 2011?
Yes.
Did Amie confide in you regarding her relationship with the defendant?
Yes.
When she confided in you, did that include the time period in which her and the defendant broke up?
Yes.
Was her breakup with the defendant amicable?
Objection hearsay.
No.
Did Amie stay in contact with the defendant after that breakup?
Objection hearsay foundation speculation.
All right. Any more? Court will sustain it. Fine.
Were you aware of any attempts by the defendant to reconcile with Amie?
Objection hearsay speculation.
No, sustained.
Were there any measures that you were aware of that Amie took in order to cut off contact with the defendant?
Objection foundation hearsay.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes, let's approach.
To your knowledge, did Amie stay in contact with the defendant after their breakup?
No.
Did she want to stay in contact?
Objection.
The answer stands that they did not keep in contact? Is that right?
Yes, they did not.
Okay, I'll allow the next answer with your question. Do you have a response to that last question?
What was it again?
May I ask a question? Andrew? Did she want to stay in contact
No.
with the defendant? Now, I want to talk to you about January of 2020. Did you speak to Amie about the defendant during January of 2020?
Yes, I did.
Could you explain how that conversation came about?
It was just at a party at her house, and I just felt like his energy was around with the work that I do.
Objection foundation speculation.
All right, sustained. So you were a party, I sustain your objection. So you were a party ticket from there?
Sure. Describe.
That part of it.
We were at a party, and I asked about if she had spoken to him. She said she hadn't spoken to him in years.
And this was at a party at her house?
Yes.
And you had brought that up?
Yeah.
Objection relevant.
It's foundational, I take it.
Yes. Since that party, had you had another conversation with Amie about the defendant in January of 2020?
Yes.
And how did that conversation come about?
She called me after the night of the X Awards.
The XBiz Awards?
Yes.
And was that January 17th of 2020?
Yes.
And this was a phone call?
Yes.
What did she tell you when she called you?
She just told me what happened at the event.
Right, as long as we're going to the state of mind.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, very good.
She just told me what happened at the event.
Did she tell you that she ran into the defendant?
Objection leading.
It froze on there.
But his leading doesn't run the danger of going into other areas. Or you can ask her what exactly she told her about that. Okay, she'll withdraw it. You can pinpoint.
Was she specific about her interaction with the defendant at the ex-biz awards?
Yes.
What did she tell you about her interaction with the defendant?
She just was, I mean, everybody has heard it already. He threw a tantrum at the show.
Is that the word you used, Jen?
Not a tantrum, but
Was specific to you on the phone about who approached who?
he approached her.
She told you that?
Yes.
Did she describe to you on the phone what his demeanor was during this interaction?
Erratic.
Did she provide any instances of description, or did she provide description about his erratic behavior?
That he was still stuck in the past.
And did she say anything else about that?
She just was talking about what happened, that she had seen him and that he broke down and that he started pulling out text messages and making a scene in front of everybody, and she was really embarrassed and she just wanted to neutralize the situation. So they went off to the side to talk, and whatever happened, I wasn't there.
So let me try to break that down just a little bit. You said that she was specific about the defendant approaching her.
Yes.
You indicated, she told you nothing of this.
Well, she's reiterating what this was just stated.
What did she say about those text messages?
He was just pulling up text messages from the past, as if they had just happened yesterday.
And did she tell you what he did when he pulled up these text messages?
That he was,
This is far beyond the grounds of state of mind.
Okay, unless it's going to that state of mind specifically. Of course, I'm sustaining objection. So.
Did he tell you what? My question is, did he read text messages to her, or he just pulled them up?
he was reading.
What that means.
It remains that he was texting her. Okay.
I think the question I had for the witness is to make it clear that they weren't text messages that were being sent at the time of the interaction, but from the past. That's
Yes, they're from
essentially
the
the
past.
question.
All right.
So to be clear, were those text messages, did she refer to those text messages as text messages that were exchanged between herself and the defendant from the past?
from the past, from years ago.
Thank you, that was the question. Did she provide any specific statements he said to her during this interaction?
Interaction at the show?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Objection far beyond the grounds.
Now it's going to
Where can we approach so that we
You know,
have
ladies and
uninterrupted?
gentlemen, any of you all know Stepmaster? Because I keep going down these steps.
Defense is trying their best to stop everything, but all of this is important because we need to know what exactly happened. What was her at? How did she feel? Was she scared? Was she upset? Was it a joke to her? We have to know this because this man was stalking for years. Was she in contact with him? It'll come back on. I don't want to fast forward anymore because we end up missing the part.
I think we left off by asking about some text messages, or I'm sorry, some statements. Did Amie tell you about specific statements he said to her during the interaction at the ex-biz awards?
I don't recall the exact things that she said he was saying.
Did she talk about his emotional state?
Yes,
And what was it that she told you about his emotional state?
that he was erratic.
Did she use any other sort of descriptors in regards
He was
to
crying. He was very emotional. That he got on the floor. He was crying on the floor.
that he got on the floor?
Yeah.
Large face, what in the hell is wrong with you? Excuse my language. What is wrong with you? You are such a loser. Resume.
Did she tell you how she responded to the defendant as a result of his erratic behavior?
Yes.
And how did she tell you she responded?
She was scared, but she also, is a therapist, so she wanted to diffuse the situation.
Did she tell you how she tried to diffuse that situation?
Just for some clarity, you stated she was scared. Is that something she said to you?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry. No problem, Your Honor. Did she tell you what she did to try to diffuse the situation?
She tried to talk him down. She said.
Did she sound concerned for her personal safety when you spoke to her?
Yes.
And what was her tone of voice when she was speaking to you in regards to her personal safety?
She was scared. She was, she didn't know what to do. She didn't know if he was going to come back.
Objection unresponsive.
Is that what she told you?
Yes.
Now, I know this was a conversation over the phone, so you don't have the benefit of
Yeah.
seeing someone when they speak. Could you tell by her tone of voice over the phone that she was scared?
Yes.
What was her tone of voice on the phone?
Well, it frightened. She was talking really fast. She just didn't know what she was going to do. I had told her to go to the police. I had told her to use security, if possible.
Now, speaking of
narrative. Well, but that part of the police and so forth is hearsay, so the court will sustain that part. Motion to strike. Sure.
Speaking of security, did she talk to you about taking any sort of security measures as a result of this encounter with the defendant at the XBiz Awards?
Yes.
What did she say about that?
She was going to get her cameras ready, and she was going to bring her roommate back to feel safer in her house. She had felt safe with the roommate there.
Now, I know that we've been talking about this phone conversation that you had with Amie on January 17th. Did you also exchange text messages with Amie in January in regards to this interaction with the defendant at the XBiz Awards?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the people are holding a screenshot of a text message between the witness and Amie. Will that be marked People's 14?
Yeah, is that one page?
It is one page.
Yes, Mark.
Show you what's been marked as People's 14. Do you recognize the screenshot?
Yes.
Now, how do you recognize this?
That's the conversation that Amie and I had after she ran into Gareth.
Now, we can see here that there are text messages that are white, and then there are also text messages here. I know there's a black portion of it that are blue.
Yes.
Which text messages are Amy's?
Amie is the top white, and mine is the redacted.
The blue?
Yes.
Now, do you remember when it is that you received this text message?
I think that was on the 17th.
Was this before or after your phone call?
This was after the phone call.
Now, it says here, also, I had to block Gareth. He continued to message me after I told him I did not want to have contact. He even said that you sent your psychic energy to control the Star Trek episode that he's watching that reminded him of me. This is really scary. Is this a text message that Amie sent to you after your phone call where she told you about the incident?
Correct.
And how soon after receiving, how soon after the phone call did you receive this text message?
This was just a few hours after.
Now, when was the last time you spoke to Amie prior to her death?
A few days before.
Thank you, nothing further.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, state of mind. We've been talking a lot about state of mind and so forth, and the state of mind sometimes includes hearsay. But it is the best example I can give you is if someone went up to one of you and said, "I'm going to sock you." Not that that was stated in this case, but let's say, "I'm going to punch you right now." It isn't so much for the truth the person was going to punch you, but rather what effect it had on your state of mind. Are you afraid, or you dismissive, or what have you? Okay, so that's a nuance, and you get an instruction at the end of this case with respect to that. Okay, counsel, questions?
No question.
Okay, you may step down, ma'am. Thank you. You're our next witness. What's the next witness?
I'm sorry,
Who's the name of the witness?
Mr. Apple will be calling Michael Herman.
Michael Herman. Okay. No?
Sorry, Sonia
Easy for you to say. Okay.
And I,
How do you spell that last name?
B-A-L-A-N-I.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, second page. Okay, thank you.
Let me call Montano. We call
I see.
Damien Montano.
Oh, you're gonna call Montano? Is that Damien?
Damien Montano.
Okay. Mr. Montano? Yes, if you could first witness stand down here, please. Before you have a seat, if you can face this gentleman here.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause and opinion before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Thank you.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Damien Montano.
Spell them, please.
Oh, sorry. It's D-A-M-I-A-N. Last name is M-O-N-T-A-N-O.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Montano, looking here at People's Number 1, it's an aerial photograph. You see the location where on the home has location 2078.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with that location?
I am. It's part. I'm sorry.
How are you familiar with that location?
It's part of my property, so it's a lower level rental unit.
And you live on that property?
I do. I live at 2080.
And back on February 14th, 2020, Valentine's Day, did you live at that location?
Yes, I did.
And what part of that location did you live at?
My property is the whole first floor. It's hillside, so that lower unit only starts on the back half of the house. So mine is the entire top level.
And would yours be the closest to Mound Street?
Yes, it is.
And at your home, did you have any cameras?
I do.
And did you have those cameras back on February 15th, 2020?
Yes, I did.
What kind of cameras are those?
They're ring motion sensor cameras, so if they sense movement, light goes off and it starts recording.
And were those cameras triggered back on February 15th, 2020 in the morning?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember about what time they were triggered?
108.
You're going to have a DVD with 2 videos and labeled 2078 Mound Street. Did you see people's next in order?
15, excuse me.
15?
15, yes.
15. I should play the recording.
Yes.
I'm going to show you a video in a moment and actually you can recognize what's shown here.
Okay.
The first video clip is labeled 2080 Mound 1. You see the timestamp?
Yes, sir.
What's the timestamp on that video?
108 and 12 seconds.
And when you install these Ring camera, were you aware whether the timestamp on was accurate?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because I've often checked to see what activity is going on. You can do a live feed. The live feed is always accurate, so every time I've checked it, it's been accurate.
And do you recognize the individual that was on that video clip that we just played?
No, I did not. That was wiping answer the door.
We played a second. And for how many minutes it's set up to record someone if they set up the motion?
I believe it's 30 seconds with a 5-second rest before it kicks on for 30 more seconds. I believe that's what it does.
I'm going to show you a video labeled 2080 Mound 2. This is another video of that same individual. I'll ask you about the timestamp in a moment. What was the timestamp on the second video?
108 and 49 seconds.
And then you see the individual leave the location of your home and go across the street or something like that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And did someone request for you to provide these Ring videos?
Yes.
And who was that?
Detective Tyler Adams, and then later Detective Carranza had requested them through Ring. I guess Ring has a system where police can request videos directly from Ring. So Ring contacts me, asks me if I give permission to share those, which I did.
Okay. When you gave those Ring videos to Detective Taylor, when was that?
I believe it was on the 15th, so it was pretty shortly after the incident happened.
So the same day, February 15, 2020. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Frandell, no questions. All right, so you may step in. Ladies and gentlemen, rather than calling the witness right now, let's go ahead and take a break, 15 minutes, if you would, please. Thank you. A process, in this case, a process. That witness will not be necessary for Friday. That was scheduled for this Friday. What I'm trying to tell you is you'll be off on Friday. It's going to be off for a 4-day weekend, okay? All right. Yeah. There you go. All right.
I thought you had to go to work, Your Honor.
I'm not saying anything. You said that. It's not any event, okay? Just so you're on par with us. All right, your next witness, if you would, please.
Yes, people call Sangeeta Balani.
Okay.
Lord face, I don't know what you smiling about. You're going to be stuck in the cell. You're not going to have a long Labor Day weekend. Well, Labor Day's over. This is, like I said, we're watching recap. Okay. The trial is not on right now because I think, someone told me that, whatever, that someone has COVID. I don't know, prosecution, defense, or whatever it is, so they have to, postpone it. But maybe next week, maybe even tomorrow, the trial will resume. But right now, doing catch up. All right, resume.
You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Please have a seat.
I am a custodian of records for the Los Angeles Police Department
And how long have you been doing that job?
for about 7 years.
Can you explain to the jury exactly what it is that you're doing that job?
When people call 911 and those records are required, we retrieve those recordings and the typed records as needed.
Okay. And so does that include the audio recordings for the 911 calls?
Yes.
Does that include records documenting what time exactly the 911 call came in?
Yes.
And in this case, were you asked to retrieve the 911 records related to a call that occurred back on February 15, 2020 at about 1:14 in the morning related to a roommate screaming for help?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have in my hand a 3-page document. Page 1 has a title of affidavit with an affidavit from Sangeta Balani, the witness. May this be marked people's next in order, people's number
16.
People's 16. And I'm going to mark each page A, B, and C.
All right.
All right, looking at page A of this exhibit. Can you just briefly describe what's shown there?
That's an affidavit signed by me saying that I'm the one that retrieved the records, and I've done it to the best of my ability.
When we say retrieve the records, was there a request from someone to retrieve the records?
Yes, from the detective.
Looking at page 2 of this exhibit, can you tell us what is shown here?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell us what is shown here?
Oh, that is the request that was by the detective, and it indicates the date, the incident number, and any information related to that particular incident, and that he wanted the printout and the CD, which is the 911 recording.
And we're able to pull the audio recordings for the 911 call related to this incident and the log.
Yes.
Looking here at page C, the page with the title Incident Recall, it has a name at the very top, Michael. What's that supposed to indicate?
That is the person that was calling 911.
And what did you document for the time of the first 911 call?
The time indicates 01:14 hours.
And how do we know that that time's correct?
When you listen to the recording, it corresponds with the incident. It is when the call comes in, the operator's typing in the address and what exactly the person is reporting. According to that, the incident is generated and there's a timestamp that's created.
And the timestamp that's created is based on what are you relying on to make sure it's accurate? Well, what's that time based on?
The time is correct. It's checked it's done a weekly check by the system monitor operators to make sure that it is on point.
And here right next to 114, there's comments. Who types in those comments?
The operator receiving the call.
So the operator's making a summary of whatever she's being told by whoever's calling 911.
Correct.
And here the summary was PR, MW, and so on. Can you translate what's being said here on this? What summary the 911 operator wrote?
Sure. It says, see the PR, which is person reporting, male white. He's wearing white shirt outside the location. That means he's standing outside. We'll direct to person reporting's roommate screaming for help, possible 242, which is battery involved.
And now this information goes out to who?
I'm sorry?
This information
Oh.
on the 911 call, do the 911 operators provide that information to some other people?
So once they get that information, they broadcast this information to the officers in the field.
And so they receive, this is the type of information they're receiving for this incident.
Correct.
So they're supposed to be looking for a male white who may have blood on his shirt. He's wearing a white shirt.
Correct.
And then to provide the 911 calls related to this incident and the logs to the detectives that requested it.
Correct.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay. Okay, you make that down. Thanks, man.
People call Michael Vermin to the stand.
All right, Mr. Herman, if you would step down here, please. Raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and cause nothing before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Is that a seat? Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Michael Herman, Michaelherman.
Mr. Herman, how old?
50.
I want to draw your attention back to 2020. Back then, where were you living?
I was living in the Hollywood Hills off Mound Street.
You're at.
I'm sorry.
Ready?
Yeah.
Looking at exhibit number 1, there are photographs showing 2086 Mount Street and 278 Mount Street. Were you living at 2086 Mount Street in 2020?
I was.
And did you live there with someone?
Yes.
And who was that?
Amie Harwick.
Looking at people's exhibit number 9, you recognize who that is?
Yeah.
And who was that?
That's Amie.
And now you know that she died on February 15, 2020.
Yes.
Prior to that date, how long had you been living at that location with her?
Probably around 5 months.
And did you stay there every day, or were there times when you were there, not there?
I traveled probably around 50% of the time.
What does that mean, you're gone 50% of the time?
Well, if you add up the days in a month, like I'm probably gone 2 weeks out of the month, like traveling for business.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to speak a little louder so the jurors back here can hear you. So speak into the mic if you can.
Okay, sure.
All right. So you said you would travel for business and that you would be gone. How much time?
On average, about 50% of the time.
And what is it that you did for a living back then?
I was consulting with chains of stores who were wanting to manufacture overseas or go straight to manufacturers and not use like middlemen anymore.
And prior to Amie's death, did she ever tell you whether anything was causing her concern?
Yes.
What did she tell you in that regard?
She was really worried about an ex-boyfriend that she had a restraining order against.
And did she tell you why she was concerned for this ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
What did she tell you?
She said that,
without getting into details of any specific incident, just in general, what did she tell you about why she was afraid of this?
she felt like he was capable of, and did physically harm her in the past.
I could withdraw the answer and ask another
Was
question.
that due to that question or something previously? All right.
Um, 603, if you're talking about the guy that's on the stand, you know I'm on speed 1.5, so it might be the speed that got him a little jittery, you know, from doing it at a faster speed. But you never know, you might have a point. It'll be back on, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to fast forward this and then we end up missing something. Okay, I think it's coming back now.
Yes.
This witness responded to a question. The following. She felt like he was capable. I take it that Ms. Harwick felt like she was the basis for that, and so the court will strike that. And so you're not to consider that at all, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So that way, it's important that you follow the court's instructions with regard to that. Now, you have a stipulation read. Now, stipulation again, ladies and gentlemen, is a fact, a set of facts that the attorneys will agree on whatever the stipulation may state. You're to accept them as facts or evidence as having been established.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, Don, that works. I was confused. Yeah, you know how to do the recaps. I do it on fast speed, and this one's not 1.25. We're doing on 1.5, so it's a little bit faster. So everybody looks a little. All right, let's get back to it. We should be almost done soon. I think there's only one more person after him. All right, resume.
Established by the evidence in this case. Okay, so it's not an issue at this point. If you would go ahead.
A restraining order named Amie Harwick as a protected person was issued on April 12, 2012, ordering Gareth Pursehouse to stay 100 yards away from her home, job, and vehicle. The restraining order expired on April 11, 2015. It was not in effect on the day of the incident.
So stipulated defense?
So stipulated.
Prosecution?
Yes.
All right, court will accept stipulation. Go ahead.
Thank you. Were you present for any measures that were taken to secure the home prior to February 15, 2020?
Yes.
What did you observe or hear as far as any protective measures?
Amie had met with a handyman that just hadn't been working for her that long. And I went just one time in particular, I remember they were over by the glass doors that happened to be broken that evening. And Amie was pointing it out and telling him we need to secure this. And I would just remember, because I think I was eating a bowl of cereal and rolled over kind of slowly and she got kind of quiet. And I just felt like she didn't want me to worry or something. I don't know. But I did hear
Thank
that
you.
part.
And about how much time before February 15, 2020 was this handyman there?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. February 15, 2020
Okay.
is when Amie passed away. About how much time before that date was this handyman over at her house trying to secure these doors that you're describing?
I don't know if it got to the doors or not. I just know that conversation. I know he also.
Well, that's not what I'm asking.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to count it up. Like maybe 4 or 5, maybe times I've seen him over there. But I don't-
How many days? When you saw the lock, was he there more than once?
Yes.
Okay.
But this one occasion that you're describing, when you're looking at these doors, that occasion, about how many days before February 15, 2020 did that happen, approximately? Or weeks?
It was between a week or two.
I'm drawing you to the date of February 14, 2020, Valentine's Day. Were you there at 2086 Mount Street that day?
I was.
Okay. Were you there from what time to what time were you there?
I was there all day.
And did you go to sleep at a certain point in time?
Several times, yes.
And why is that?
Because I'd been up working a lot of hours the previous 2 weeks.
Do you remember at what time you went to sleep?
Which time?
Well, you tell me. What time was the first time you fell asleep?
It was probably towards the morning. I think it was close to morning on Friday morning because Thursday night's Friday night in China. So I remember being up to catch their Friday night. And I fell asleep towards that morning.
So on Valentine's Day, you fell asleep in the morning.
Yeah.
So do you remember how long you were asleep in the morning? Until you woke up?
I woke up several times, like to use the bathroom or get something to eat.
Well, how long was your longest amount of time that you slept in the morning?
Probably 3 or 4 hours, maybe.
How many?
3 or 4 hours, maybe.
Now let's take you more closer to, let's say after 6 p.m. Did you fall asleep after 6 p.m.?
Around then.
Did something wake you up after that time?
Yeah.
And what was that?
Well, I don't know what it was. It sounded like a glass plate falling upstairs. That's what I thought it was.
Now I have a CD here, Your Honor, with two 3D videos, one labeled lower level and one labeled upper level. They didn't see my people's names in order.
17.
17.
There's an objection on 2 grounds. One, that these.
Sidebar.
This is labeled the lower level. And I ask you, this fairly accurately represents what lower level looked back on February 15, 2020. Wait until the video has played completely. Actually, let me pause it right here. Let's start this up again. One second.
Yes.
I'm going to pause it at about 1 second. Do you see the structure at this point?
Yes.
Okay, it appears that the roof has been taken off so you can see onto the 3rd level.
Yes.
Does it show a 2nd level here?
Yes.
Is it off to the left? You can see part of it?
Yes, it's off to the left, next to the garage doors.
And could you see part of the 2nd level where you see the French doors that would lead into what?
Into the, I guess, the main living room area.
I don't want you to guess. I want you to,
Yeah, depends what you call it, but yeah, I would call it a main living room area.
I'm going to continue playing. I'm going to pause it right here. This is at 15 seconds, and it appears to be, if you're looking at the front of the home, it will be the right side. If you're facing the front of the home, it will be on the right side. You see there appears to be a door on the 2nd floor. You see that?
Yes.
That door leads to where?
The kitchen.
Let me, and I don't know if we have a laser pointer.
I think the lasers don't work on that. Yeah, the old-fashioned flip
Yes.
pointer there.
There we go. It's also. Right. You see this, right here, what appears to be a door on, you're facing the front of the home on this 3D image. It would be on the right side of the home, right?
Yes.
So this door right here that points to the kitchen. Thank you. And does that door, can you exit that door? Are there stairs that lead from that door out into the patio?
Yes.
And continue playing this video. And pause it there. So I'll pause it at 22 seconds. Are you able to see the stairs that lead from that kitchen door out into the patio?
Yes.
And I'll pause it now at 25 seconds. And can you describe whether your bedroom is can it be seen here?
Yes.
Can you just point out the door that would lead to your bedroom on?
That's it right there.
Okay. On this image that I stopped by a second, you pull a blue door that appears to be in the middle of what appears to be the white portion of the back of the house at the lower level.
Yes.
And what are the windows? Which are the windows to your bedroom?
This one, and this one.
Okay, you pointed to 2 windows to the right of that blue door that you just pointed to, and then a window to the side of the building on, if you're facing, the view we're facing now from looking at the back of the building would be on the right side to it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to play the video. I'm going to pause it right here. This is at 28 seconds. Now, if you were to face the front of the building looking at the house, this would be on the left side, correct?
Yes.
And here, there appears to be like a sectional showing, is there a sectional showing the mid-level?
Yes.
And there appears to be a staircase that leads up to the 3rd level?
Yes.
And is that staircase, is that near the front door?
Yes.
continue to play the video and let's play the remainder of it. I'm going to ask you if the video is going to show the lower level where you had your bedroom back on February 15, 2020. I'm going to pause it right here. You see what's highlighted at 1 minute and 3 seconds when I stop the video?
Yes.
Are those the stairs that lead up to the mid-level?
They are.
And what's highlighted now in pink at 105, would that be your bathroom?
Yes.
What's highlighted now at 1 minute and 13 seconds, is that the utility room or what kind of room is that?
Laundry room, utility room.
Would you have laundry machines there?
Yes.
You continue to play the video. And now, at 1 minute and 20 seconds, there appears to be a room to the left highlighted. And whose room is that?
That's my room.
And does this diagram shown at 1 minute and 20 seconds, does it fairly reflect the dimensions of your room, the bathroom, the utility room, and the staircase?
Yes, it seems to be yes.
Stop this video and play the second video, which is the upper level, and ask you if you recognize what it's showing. To the pause here. At 57 seconds. It appears to be a layout of the third floor. Do you recognize that layout?
Yes.
Have you been up to the third floor before?
Yes.
Did it have what appears the room at the bottom in this section is that? And then what's between that room and what's the next room next to that?
There's a bathroom. Yeah.
Was there a hallway in front of the bathroom?
Yes.
And then what's, looking at this image going to the top, what room is that?
That's her bedroom.
And then outside of her bedroom, what will we find?
There's a closet and bathroom.
No, I'm talking about outside of her bedroom.
Stairs. A balcony.
And to the left, what is that?
That's a stairway, balcony up to, and balcony up to the third level.
I did not ask this. Next to her bedroom, what's to the left of that?
That looks like a closet. Yeah, it's like her closet.
So, you said you heard what sounded like what breaking?
Like a dish or glass dish like falling to the floor.
And where were you when you heard this? Was that loud?
Yeah.
So you wake up to the sound. It sounds like something's breaking. What do?
First, I wait and listen, and because I thought Amy dropped a plate, or maybe the cat had knocked the plate over, and then I heard what I thought was Amy cleaning it up and walking over my bedroom.
I have a 3D video still showing the front of two properties, but this might be people's next door. 18. It was 18. Sounded like something was cleaning, or that Amy was cleaning it up?
Yeah, it sounded like, it was footsteps coming from the area where it sounded like the glass dropped, which sounded like the living room. And then steps came towards the kitchen. So I assumed Amy had cleaned it up and was carrying it to the kitchen.
So at this point, you didn't know that Amy was in the home, or if she had gone somewhere?
No, yeah.
And what happened after that?
TV and dozed back off.
There's what?
I said I might have watched some more TV, watched some TV, or used the bathroom, or got something to eat, and then dozed off eventually.
It's speculation.
Right. All right. And the way he's responded is speculative, so I'll strike it. You don't exactly know what you did.
In general, I do.
I just don't want you to guess.
Well,
So if you don't know, just say you don't know.
I ate, I watched some TV, and I slept.
Okay, you're sure of that?
Yes.
And so after
And
you
you
did
forgot
that,
one.
did something else happen?
Did something else happen? When I
Did
did
something cause you to wake up or for you to do something?
Well, later that night,
Tell the jury, what exactly is it that you heard?
it sounded like Amy's voice screaming like blood-curdling screams.
Could you tell what she was screaming?
It was just loud. It screams. I thought she saw a mouse. Really, as crazy that sounds. That's like, don't let a girl scream like that. It's like, it was. Yeah.
What was so distinctive about the way it sounded to you that Amy was screaming? What was so distinctive about it?
Well, it threw me because she wasn't being jostled. Like she was screaming from one place. So that's kind of what made me take a little while. I'm like thinking she saw a mouse or something. I'm not. It's not moved. It's not moving, being jostled. That's what threw me. It took a minute to. I don't know how else to describe it. Screams. It was just.
Let me ask you this: were you asleep when you first heard the screams, or were you awake when you heard the screams?
I was asleep.
So the screams woke you up?
Oh, big time, yeah.
What do you mean by big time?
Well, yeah, like hard.
Oh God, you cracking me up. 603 said, if that was her house, if so, I got a degree in the wrong subject. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to understand. That was all her house, and she had a roommate or whatever people staying there, or people was renting out different parts. I couldn't understand it, but it's really a beautiful setup, though, I have to say. Very beautiful setup. All right, resume.
And quick, like adrenaline pumping a little bit.
And you said they were blood-curdling screams.
Yeah.
What else were you able to hear?
Well, when I yelled up there, I yelled her name up there.
Tell us exactly. Say it the way you said it that night. What did you say?
Well, it took me a minute to realize there was something really wrong, and I walked to my door and I just yelled up there, Amy, Amy,
Well, how about you yell it the way you yelled it that day?
Amy!
And when you yelled it that way, was she screaming or you yelled it that way?
Yes.
And where were you standing when you yelled Amy and the passenger sit here in court? Where were you when you yelled out Amy, the way you did here in court?
Yeah, I think I was in my doorway when that happened.
Another exhibit with pages.
The photos?
Yes. The photographs 8 to E in the history mark People's Exit Order number 19.
Yes, 19-8. We, and with that, council, we're going to take a recess. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, let's be back tomorrow at 9:30. Have a safe evening. We'll see you tomorrow at 9:30. All right, thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of day 2. Want to show some clips on that one. And tomorrow I'll get back into Ham Hock. I'll do something on Ham Hock tomorrow. It's alright. That was just it. It finished quickly because we had on a higher speed. Yes, high speed. Okay. Where's this Lord face at? I just can't stand him. Oh my gosh. Where is he? Where are you? Where are you? Okay. There he goes. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for hitting the like. And to the replay watchers, thank you for watching too. And also leave some feedback and make sure you hit the like button. Alright, we'll stay tuned for more of this because I will be doing some more recaps on this. Cause now I'm trying to catch up on this trial since they not in trial right now. Yeah, last week they wasn't. And it seems like it might be this week, or maybe do it later on this week, or it might start next week. I don't know. It's all about when a person gets better. And then they go from there. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging. And always remember, date smart, not thirsty. And if you are a victim, look at the number down there. There's a 1-800 number. If you're a victim of domestic violence, get some help. So sad. I believe this woman was living in fear for years. You low-life monster. Lard face. Adios.